Hi, good evening and welcome to our first tutorial video about deck building. The first archetype we are going to talk about is aggro, which is actually short for aggressive. What your goal really here is, you want to go really fast from reducing your opponent's life total from 20 to 0. As fast as possible, as quick as possible, as easy as possible. Though strategically aggro is not difficult to play, but it can really catch your opponents unsurprised. So I asked a friend, which colors should I make this aggro deck? Do you have a preference? He said, oh, I really like black red, yeah, I really enjoy those. So we are going to make a black red deck. It was just my Skype shutting down. So we know from the current metagame in Standard, which is where we are going to build our deck, but also you can look at it long term, even in other formats or against specific opponents. You can really look at this from very much directions. So first of all, we know from the current metagame there's a lot of band control. They play a lot of mouse removal. They play a lot of life gain in the form of Thragtusk and of course Sphinx's Revelation, which draws them cards, which gets them their Terminus or Supreme Verdict or shenanigans like that. So we want to be faster than that. We want to have dealt at least 12 damage before our creatures die and still have a follow-up in our hands. So if we can really emphasize that plan, we can do a lot. So let's just start out with our colors. So we know he wanted black-red. So the first thing we do is we make our mana base. So Blood Crypt is the first choice because it gives both colors also. And it's a very good land. You can choose to let it enter tapped, you can even choose to let it enter untapped. So you can instantly play something that costs either black or red, and if you have on turn 2 something else that costs double red, it's even easier to cast this. So we are going to follow up with more non-basic land. So Dragon Skull Summit. This one enters the battlefield untapped if you control a swamp or a mountain. And since Blood Crypt is both swamp and mountain, as you can see here highlighted, we can let these come into play untapped on turn 2 with this in play. Furthermore, because the mana for this deck is so easy, we can even go with Ragdoll's Guildgate. It's cheap. It comes into play tapped, yes, but so does Blood Crypt sometimes. This one enters either way tapped, so you can do a lot with it. It gives you also both colors, so now you have to actually count. I have 12 swamps and 12 mountains already. So casting costs there get a little easier. So we also know that some lands could be dangerous. If we would go into a specific creature type, we would play this Cavern of Souls. So let's say if we would play goblins or vampires, we would play this. So we could cast the creatures and then they wouldn't be able to be countered. Plus they can go for any mana. So if the first turn you need red and the second turn you need double black, you can cast it with this. But we're not going to do that this time because we're not in a specific creature type. We're just trying to make a simple aggro deck that can go really, really fast. So we have 12 land now, which is too few. The recommended land in an aggro deck, which does not have mana acceleration, such as Llanowar Elves, Arbor Elf, or Avacyn's Pilgrim, I would recommend playing at least 23 lands. Because you can still play Rakdos Keyroom, which is also a very good card, but I'll come back to that later. So now we're going to add in some more lands. So we don't really have any more specific ideas so we want to do. So we're just going to go something like this. We're going to go swamp and some mountains. So we added in 6 mountains, 5 swamps, which is equally divided. This may change when we have chosen which creatures to put in the deck. So, continuing, we have our mana. And now we can start out on creature. So remember, low casting cost, fast. That's the archetype of aggro. So we know this one guy, for example, it can enter the battlefield on turn 1 as a 2-2. We would add in 4 of those. Why? He's fast, he does a lot. True, he can't block when he is unleashed, but mostly you don't want to be blocking with your deck. You want to be attacking. You want to put the hurt on your opponent. So continuing on, we have Strong Current Noble. Also, only 1 mana, it's a 1-1, but it can't be blocked by humans. In the current format there are a lot of humans, and if it isn't blocked, if they don't have an early answer, this can easily become a 3-3. So we're also going to add in 4 of those. Continuing on, do we want to stay in 1 mana? I think so. Do we have any more creatures for 1 mana? Now there's a question. There is a creature that costs 1 mana, but this is yet again an optional choice for your opponents, that is. They can let him enter, deal 4 damage. There's already 4 damage dealt if they take it. If they don't, they might have an answer to it. So I'm not completely sure yet if we're going to put it in. So we'll keep it in thought. Keep it in the back of our head. So yeah, Vexing Devil is still an option. Okay, so we're going to go on here. Next card is Ash Zealot. I think this card is very good because, first of all, it's a 2-2 first strike haste. And it even does something if it remains in play. There are a lot of cards which have flashback, which could be targeted to return from graveyards, or yeah, well, mostly it does this against flashback. So flashback, for example, on Burrows, or when they use Snapcaster Mage or Forbidden Alchemy or Think Twice, when they do it, they take 3 damage, which is again good card. And I keep getting these notifications that are annoying. Apologies. So we are black-red, but we only added some real red creatures. Do we have any good black creatures? As a matter of fact, we do. This one, however, costs 3 mana, but look at all the things he has. It's a 2-3, flying, dead touch, and lifelink. I like this guy a lot, because if they don't have an answer to it, you have a potential very good blocker. If it dies, another creature mostly goes with it to the graveyard. And also he has flying. Flying is an underrated, I believe, underrated concept right now, because a lot of people are trying to go on the ground with some bigger creatures, but if you just fly over them, not a lot they can do. So At the minute we have 15 creatures, but remember, in the back of our heads we still have that Vexing Devil. But still, keeping the options open. Let's say we want to stop for a while on creatures. We want to focus on spells this time. Which spells are good? Well, we want to reduce his life total as fast as possible, so I'd say we add in Searing Spear. It's 2 mana, 3 damage to target creature or player. So we're definitely adding in 4 of those. It's an instant also, so you can play it during his attack phase, during his ending phase, if you want to do a lot of damage in a short period of time. Which other spell I like a lot this instant is Pillar of Flame. It does 2 damage to a creature or a player. It's a sorcery, might be a bit of a disadvantage there, but look a bit further. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. So there again you have conditions such as Strangleroot guys, or even, let's say, Gravecrawler from the Zombies deck. They don't come back anymore. So the Undying doesn't trigger, they can't cast it anymore from the graveyard. I like that. Plus it's a very good and effective spell on turn 2 or turn 1 if they have a 1/1 creature out and you want to kill it. So you just use this, you kill it, and then you can freely attack with your creatures. Now, do we want to continue on spells? I think so. Because here's another good answer. It destroys a creature or a Planeswalker. Planeswalker can be very annoying against this deck. So I think we definitely want a few of those. So we'll add in 3. We don't need a full set of them. I think 3 will suffice as answer to Planeswalkers. So we are already at 49 cards in our main deck. That's already a very good start, I would say. Do we want to continue? let's say Ragdoll's Key Room. It can become a 3/1 first striker. If not, we can use it for mana. The only thing that other costs 3 mana would be the Vampire Nighthawk, but we can still first cast Ragdoll's Key Room, and even then, if we don't draw a 4th land, for example, we still have this. So we can play Vampire Nighthawk, and still have Searing Spear, or Ragdoll's Cackler, or Strongcurd Noble to cast. So I think we also want a few of those. Let's say we're up against another aggro deck. Their creatures could be bigger than yours. Let's think about that. Do we want a heavier answer? I think we do. We'll throw in Hellrider. This guy costs 4 mana, but if he attacks, he deals 1 damage to the defending player. But also each other creature you control does that. So if we add in 3 of them, and the Hellrider attacks, together with 2 other creatures, at 3 damage he's already taken, he's never gonna get back that attack phase. Unless he has lifelink. So I think also this creature can do a lot. So now we're at 18 creatures. I think we still want a few more in there. 18 creatures, perhaps a bit low. But we also have Ragdoll's Key Room. Can we count that as a creature? Not at any time. Mostly Ragdoll's Key Room is a serious threat to cards like Thragtusk or other small creatures that have a low toughness but a high power. So mostly you're going to use Ragdoll's Key Room on perhaps blocks. If you can use him on attack, that's also very good. So let's consider if we end up against a control matchup, do we have an answer to that? I think one of these would suffice there. So we add in 1 Olivia Voldera. Why? She's mana intensive also, because her abilities, like you can use, after you cast her, perhaps use her first ability twice. You cannot yet use her second ability unless he effectively controls a vampire. So in the control matchup I think this card is also going to be good, because it's a 3/3 and it could get bigger. She can even shoot damage at your own creatures, so she gets bigger and the creature doesn't die. For example, if you would do it on Ragdoll's Cackler when he's unleashed, you attack. You do 1 damage with Olivia to Ragdoll's Cackler. Olivia becomes a 4/4 and Ragdoll's Cackler can still deal 2 damage. So we're at 56 cards right now. We still don't have a real answer to the larger aggro decks. So we'll think about some mass answers. Bonfire of the Damned. I like this card a lot, so we're gonna put in 2. And then lastly we have 2 open slots. Remember, in the back of our head we thought about Vexing Devil. I don't think 2 will suffice in here. So we are going to go for a bigger spell answer. And here comes in Brimstone Volley. Standardly it deals 3 damage to target creature or player, but if a creature died that turn, it deals 5 damage. And I think that can put a lot of hurt on people. So let's save this deck. So type 2, black red, aggro. So now let's say we're going to test this. So let's start a local game. Let's see how our hand draws out. So we have it here. So we're going to shuffle this up and then draw our opening hand. And instantly we see we have a good hand. Perhaps not a turn 1 Strongcurd Noble necessarily, but we can start up with this. So it enters the battlefield tapped. Okay. Now we can draw. And there we have another Noble. So now let's just cast both of them. Why not? So there you already have 2 1/1 creatures on turn 2. Now you can play Dragon Skull Summit. And you can even cast Ash Zealot. And you attack for 4 damage. Let's say these 2 aren't blocked. So they get a counter and they become each 2/2s. Now we untap. Now we have 6 power on the board. And here we draw Blood Crypt. We also see our hand, 2 mana, 2 mana, 2 mana. So let's play Blood Crypt untapped if we haven't taken any real damage. So our opponent has taken 4 last turn. If we attack again now, let's say it isn't blocked again, he takes 6. So he lost 10 life there, and these become again yet bigger. So let's say in his turn he played a creature. Let's play a Dreadbore on that. That creature dies. Now he's still at 10 life. Let's say he plays another creature, but you see you can get over it with your Strongcurd Nobles. So At the end of his turn, we play Searing Spear, targeting him. So now he's at 7. Now we untap and draw a card. Fortunately, it's a 5th land, but still we have these. So let's attack again. Let's say he blocks here with Geist of St. Croix. No, bad example. Forget I said that. Let's say he blocks here with Thragtusk. Or he probably would block here or block here. Doesn't matter where he blocks. Before the damage, you can play this. So the creature dies, and you still get 5 damage through. Now he's at 2. So, and let's say one of them got damage through, so he is again bigger. Even if we keep drawing lands, but there's an answer. Hellrider. And now he's dead. So, when you're making an aggro deck, what you're trying to see here is, am I fast enough? Are my casting costs relevant? Can I build up to more damage through the passing of the game? And here's the answer with this deck. Yes, you can get a lot of damage through in a low amount of time. Your opponents will have answer to this, but you learn to play with this deck. So you can learn also from how they play. You can remember, when should I play this? How should I play this? For example, you can use Searing Spear on players, but you can also use it on creatures. Is it more relevant to kill a creature so I can deal more damage with my creatures? Just a small thing to consider. Also, is it wise to play all my creatures if I know he is playing mass removal such as Supreme Verdict, Terminus, or Bonfire of the Damned? Then you might consider holding a few creatures in your hand. But I think this is clear enough. Let's say we take this deck for a test, shall we? So we found ourselves a game, an opponent. Let's give this deck a test run. So we are on the play. Take a look at our opening hand. It doesn't look that bad. We have on turn 2 we can play Ash Zealot, on turn 3 we can play Rakdos Keyroom, and even have some options for Searing Spear. So we're going to keep it. We'll lead off with a Rakdos Guildgate. They enter the battlefield tapped anyway, and we don't have anything to play on turn 1. Looks like we are up against another aggro deck, so it would seem. Strongcourt Noble. Well, we are just going to play our Ash Zealot and attack for 2. Why? We're going to be faster than him, remember? Keeping it in the back of our head, we want to be faster. So now he's already got 2 damage, now he's going to attack me for 2, which is fine. I don't really care about having less life than him now. We're at equal life even. And he kept on 1 land, I think, so he plays Pillar. Now you can see how effective this spell is. So he dealt 2 damage to my Ash Zealot. So now here is my example. So now we have 3 mana, we can play Rakdos Keyroom, we can tap the Rakdos Keyroom and play Strongcourt Noble. So next turn we even have 2 creatures with which we can attack. And he answers with a Strongcourt Noble of his own. And there we have a Pillar. So, what will we do? We will play the Pillar. And kill his Strongcourt Noble. So it becomes exiled even. So now we can think. Do I want to make Rakdos Keyroom a creature? Well, the answer is yes. So now we attack for 4 damage. And he goes down to 14. Well, his only creature is Rakdos Cackler. We will go down to 14 this turn, but next turn we have Hellrider. There is his second. Look, this is also what you can learn from watching your opponent. Rakdos Shred Freak would also have been a good option in this deck. So let's think here. We are at 4 mana, we have 2 Searing Spears in our hands. Do we want to go out with Noble? I think so. because it's a 2-2, and now a Hellrider has hit the board. So he takes 2 damage instantly, and then he takes another 5. And now he will have to consider, perhaps I should start blocking. Because next turn, if he doesn't block, or has anything against these creatures, he's dead. Because I deal 6 damage with my creatures, none of his creatures, well, only one can block. Searing Spear on the Hellrider. Okay, so we still have a 3-3 to attack with. So we're down to 10. Now let's see here what it does. Oh, I could undo my draw step. And play this for... yeah, let's play it for 3. And he conceded the game. Because he would have taken 3 damage at least, and then another 3 from Strongkirk Noble. So we're going to play another game here. You can see, it's very quick. I can understand why he wants to play another game, of course. This hand on the we cannot keep. And this neither. This will have to suffice, unfortunately. These are the unfortunate turns of events you could have. Although it's been a bit turned by drawing Strongkirk Noble. Now he has to kill mine, which he will. No, I will not let the Vexing Devil live. See, there's another example. I remembered it. Vexing Devil, the back of my head. Good card. And there's another Strongkirk Noble. Now we can play this one. There's no harm in it. Because now next turn I can attack with both. If he blocks one, sure. The other one still gets bigger. So Rakdos Cackler not unleashed. He's beginning to, how do I put this, feel the pressure. Which is what you want to do with an aggro deck. So now we play Ash Zealot. It's a 2-2 first strike. He can't block it or he loses a creature. So he's down to 18. We're at 16 because we took 4 from the Vexing Devil, but our opponent kept at 1 land, which we can never do in this deck. So he drew his second land, and he reveals a Rakdos Shred Freak. I'm going to let it pass. I don't want to trade off one of my nobles for that. Let's see, draw step. Olivia. That's not a bad draw either, but I think we're first going to play Hellrider here. If we can. And the server gave a timeout. How ridiculous. But anyway, he would have, let's say he played another Shred Freak, he would have blocked my 2 nobles, he would have taken 9 damage, and we would have the option of Olivia next turn. Well, I can't really say if we would have won that game. It's not with any certainties, I can say that. But still, now we have a good idea, a good feel what is aggro. We are trying to go as fast as possible to get our opponent's life from 20 to 0. Most important thing. Keeping that in mind with aggro, you can get some ideas with which creature can help me out here get there as fast as possible. Well, thank you for watching, and perhaps until the next video.